Everybody, and welcome to this Tuesday, December the 14th webinar on understanding your cash flow and creating your budget. Welcome. We're just going to wait a couple more seconds. I know it's maybe lunchtime for a lot of you. I don't know if you're working from home or whatever. But while we kind of wait for some of the extra people to come in, I will introduce myself. A lot of you have probably seen me before. Some of you are just meeting me virtually for the first time. My name's Alana. I run the financial coaching program over with Enriched Academy. I've been with Enriched since October of 2017. I love my job. I love working with people every day, one-on-one. I love managing the coaches that we have and creating this really awesome program that is definitely life-changing. And I'm gonna tell all of you a little bit about our coaching program at the end. But what we're going to do today, for those of you who maybe are new to our webinars, is I'm going to go through our presentation, which is about understanding your cash flow and managing your budget. Now, if you have any questions that pertain to anything about any of the slides that I've gone through, or you've got questions about anything financially related, just type them in the chat function, and I will get to them at the end of the presentation that I do. Okay, so before we get started into the good stuff, I want to talk to you all a little bit about why I am such a big budgeting nerd. In 2015, I was working in the production industry and I decided that I wanted to go on a 6-month trip around the world. And with an income of $50,000, I actually managed to save $20,000 of it while living in Toronto to be able to afford this trip around the world. Now, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it wasn't easy to do. And I was working in the events industry and I was just really sick of these long hours and this rat race of Toronto. But what I did before I decided to go on my trip is that I sat down and I created a budget. And without having some kind of budget, and without setting up that goal, I wouldn't have been able to achieve my results. So this is me actually a couple of years ago. We used to do live events in Markham, and then obviously COVID hit. But I actually had somebody at the Huffington Post write a story about me, just about they were really in awe of just me being able to save that much money in a year of working. And so they wrote a story about me in the Huffington Post if anybody does want to read it. Now, why is budgeting so powerful and important? Now, these are some of the pictures from my trip. I traveled around for 3 months in South America and 3 months in Southeast Asia. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. But that experience would have just been a dream if I didn't have a budget intact and I stuck to it, right? So without a strong understanding of our cash flow, it's a lot harder to achieve our financial goals, whatever our financial goals may be. Now, here's a quote from Dave Ramsey. He is a financial guru in the States. He says a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. He's a famous radio show host, author, and businessman. So let's dive in actually to some more reasons as to why we need a budget. Now, this is actually the perfect time of year for all of you to be going through this webinar right now, because January is coming up, right? We know December is typically a very expensive time for people. The holidays are here. I know that I'm getting together a lot more with friends. We've got Christmas parties coming up. It was just Hanukkah a couple weeks ago. And so it's really important for the new year, which I do every single year in January, to sit down and try to plan your year ahead. So this is going to actually be the perfect time for you. And it's crucial to do right now, as to why we need a budget. Now, when we create a budget and stick to it, we're able to live with the money that we make and avoid overspending. It provides us with the key to financial freedom. Financial freedom is the ability to not have to work every day if you don't want to. And by creating a budget, it's the first thing that everyone should do to improve their net worth to achieve the financial freedom that they've always dreamed of. Now, when you set up a budget and stick to it, you'll be able to allocate your funds properly so that you can eliminate debt or you can increase your savings. And finally, if you have any kind of financial goals, which a lot of us do, it's going to help you make those goals become a reality. Because when you start to actively manage your cash flow, you can start to prioritize your spending and shift your mentality towards what's most important to you. Now, I want all of you to do this quickly right now if you want to, but sorry, I'm just going to move this down a bit. But how much do you think you spend every month? Write that number down somewhere, just on a piece of paper or on your phone or something. Just type it somewhere or think about it. what do you think you spend every single month um, on everything, right? Your rent, your cell phone, your internet, your dining out, your groceries, everything. Now, I'm going to actually help you go through this 5-step system to take control over your money with our budget mastery tool. If you're not part of our wealth mastery curriculum or you're not part of our coaching program, that's fine. You can still do this on your own. There's lots of budgeting templates online that you can download, but you need to do this activity because it's going to be crucial to setting up a successful 2022 year. Now, when you're going through this, obviously use your own numbers, right? So step one, and I'm going to take you through our budget mastery tool because it's the one that we use with our coaching clients, but you'll get the gist of kind of all the different things that you need to go through. So this is what our budget mastery tool looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus first and foremost on the current column. So this area here, this area here on our budget tool, it's going to be this column here. This is the current column here. So the second step is to enter your net income. Now, your net income is the total amount that you earn after deductions and income tax. Now, I should preface this entire thing by saying if you have an income that is not fixed, example, like you maybe work in the restaurant industry or you're a real estate agent, you're self-employed and your income kind of comes and goes, what you want to focus on first will actually be your expenses, because once you go through that, then you can figure out how much net income you're going to need afterwards in order to cover all of those expenses. So the step two is you're going to be entering your net income. Now, here are just some stats about the average Canadian individual. The average income in Canada is $45,400. Now, I love this picture because I think it's so accurate. Have you ever wondered where all of your money goes? You know, you get this contract at work and it says, you know, you're going to get $80,000 a year. That's your gross pay, but that's not actually what you're left with at the end of the day, right? Because we live in Canada. We pay taxes, we pay into CPP, we pay into OAS, and we have to pay, a number of other things. If you have a pension that's taken off of your income. So I love this picture because I think it's really accurate, right? It's all this, really lively and fresh looking spinach. And then all of a sudden it turns into this like wilted, bag of nothing pretty much, right? When you have spinach and it's wilted at the end of the day, it pretty much turns into nothing. Okay, so let's get started. So as I mentioned, we're going to start by putting in all of your sources of income. So on our budget worksheet, we've got business income, we have dividend income if you have investments. If you have any rental income or Airbnb income, you're going to input all of that there, along with any other income sources that you may currently have. So this is just an example budget that I have put together that you can reference back to. Next, you're going to add in any savings that you have that you're currently setting aside. So if you have automatic withdrawals that's going towards your tax-free savings account or an emergency fund or anything else like that, you're going to input it into our budget worksheet. Now, step 3 is you want to enter all of your expenses. This is where the fun and the scary part of this activity sometimes comes up, because there is typically a lot of resistance in doing this, but this is the most important part that you need to do, because if you don't know where your money's going every single day, it's really hard to make any changes and adjustments so that you can set yourself up for financial success for the year ahead. So what I want you to do, and this is really the only way to go about doing this, I want you to print off the last 3 to 6 months of your credit statements, debit statements. If you have receipts of cash purchases that you've made, I want you to really get as accurate as possible with all of your numbers. And you don't have to do this every single year. You just want to do it like once, just so you can get a really clear idea of where your money is going. So here's an example of a credit card statement that I that I printed off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 3 different color highlighters, and I'm going to go through each transaction and highlight them depending on if they're fixed, variable, or irregular expenses. And I'll explain what these are in a second. Once you've gone through and you've highlighted everything, then what you want to do is beside each transaction, you want to write down the category that they go under, right? And look at the budget worksheet that you're working with. Like this is just the one that we use with Enriched. But we have a category on our budget worksheet for home maintenance, right? Or online memberships. You just want to basically figure out each transaction and put them into a specific category. Now, once you've done that, you want to add up all of your transactions in that specific category. And then you want to divide it by the amount of months that you've gotten all this data for. So as an example, if you add up all of your dining expenses after 6 months, like you've gone through 6 months of your debit and credit statements, and all of your dining expenses come out to $6,000, you're going to take that total amount of $6,000 divided by 6. And in our budget worksheet, you're going to type in $1,000 before you're dining out, because that's on average how much you spend in each of those different categories, or in the dining out category, I should say. Okay, so let's go through what the 3 different types of expenses are. Fixed expenses are really easy because they don't change on a monthly basis. So these are expenses like, your mortgage, unless you're doing a refinance, or unless you refinance, Netflix, bank fees, your car loan payments, anything that stays stable and the same every single month. On our budget worksheet, you're going to go through, and in the cell beside that category, you're just going to type in how much you spend in each of those fixed expenses. Next, we have variable expenses, and these are expenses that change on a monthly basis. So this would be like your grocery bill, right? Or if you are somebody who likes to go clothes shopping, every time that you go clothes shopping, it's not always the same amount, right? So this is where it's going to fluctuate on a monthly basis, and you want to figure out how much on average every month you spend on those variable expenses. Now, I'm just going to break down this area up here, because if you see up here on our spreadsheet, we have credit card interest. So for example, if you are somebody who suffers or you're having a hard time getting out of credit card debt, right? It's a constant thing. You just cannot for the life of you pay off your credit card, or you have any kind of debt for that matter, that you are incurring some kind of interest. What you're going to find on your statements is somewhere it's going to say purchase interest charge. And that transaction is the interest that you are incurring for having that outstanding debt. So if you've got a credit card, you're going to see over the last 6 months that there's going to be a purchase interest transaction that your credit card charges you for having that outstanding debt. And you're going to add up all of those purchase interest charge transactions and then divide them by however many months of data that you took. And this is where you're going to input that up here in this area here. Now, we spend an average of 15% of our income on food, and 1/3 of that is in restaurants. Does anybody know right now what the rate of inflation is? I do. It's upwards of 5%. And, we get a lot of clients who come into coaching and they're like, what am I doing right now about the rate of inflation? The best way to tackle this rate of inflation is to get your budget under control. Take a really good hard look at what you're spending your money on, because things are only going to become more and more expensive as this rate of inflation increases. So we need to get really dialed into the money that we are spending currently. Now, irregular expenses. These are expenses that happen infrequently, but they're expenses that we need to be prepared for. So examples of some of these irregular expenses would be property taxes if you own your home. Any home maintenance that you do. It's not every single month that you're going to be doing home maintenance, but maybe you need a new furnace, right? So what you want to figure out is how much do you think in a year that you spend in these irregular expenses, and then divide it by 12, because there's 12 months in the year, right? So as an example, vacation, right? You're not going to go away for vacation every single month, but maybe next year you want to go on a trip and it's going to cost you $5,000. So $5,000 divided by 12, you're going to input that value into the budget worksheet that we have here. Now, what did you find? Once you've gone through this activity, you're going to have a number that is either going to shock you, or it's going to be kind of close to the number that I originally told you to write down. So in this example worksheet that I went through, I'm actually over budget on a monthly basis, right? If we added all of my expenses and all of the income that I make, we can see that I'm going to be in the hole every month by $305.23. Now, before I go through how to fix this problem, let's just go through some quick life lessons. If something costs you $1,000 and it's on sale for $750, you didn't save $250. You still spent $750. And I say this to all of my clients. Every time that you spend $1, you are taking away an opportunity to use that dollar for a different opportunity, right? whether it's increasing your TFSA contributions or your RRSP contributions, or saving for that vacation that's going to bring you a lot more joy than buying, a purse or a watch or anything else. So just remember, every time that you spend a dollar, it's a dollar that's being taken away from another opportunity, right? Okay, so now let's talk about creating new goals and tracking your cash flow. Because what makes this budgeting tool so powerful is the goals and the monthly tracker. So, step 4 of this whole program is to create goals to balance out your budget. As I mentioned before, our budget's out of whack, right? We don't have enough income coming in to cover the expenses that we have. Now, Jillian Michaels, she's a big fitness guru. She was on The Biggest Loser. She says the past does not define you, the present does. So if you're going through this, activity, and tonight you're finding like, oh crap, I'm spending way too much money, I don't have enough income coming in, that's okay, right? This is like the first activity that you're going through with your budget. So now it's time for us to make a change, right? We can make a change. We can't change what happened in the past, but we can make a change today to determine what's going to happen in the future. So here again, this is an example of what I'm currently at with my spending. I obviously see that I'm overspending. I don't want to go out and get another job to make up for it. So I'm going to have to go through the goal column and cut back in some of my areas. Now, when you're going through the goal column of your budget, or when you're creating a new budget for the year ahead, I want you to think about the 80-20 principle. Now, this principle is that 20% of your effort will bring you 80% of the joy and fulfillment in your life. And we can apply this to your finances as well. 20% of the money you spend will bring you 80% of the joy in your life. When you're going through your goal column of your budget, I don't want you to try to cut back on the 80%, or sorry, the 20% of your money that brings joy into your life, right? We have certain things in life that we love doing. Like, I love hanging out with my friends. I love cooking. I love going on vacation. I will spend money on my health. I don't know if you can see, but I bought a Peloton and I'm on it every single day. Like, I'm okay spending money on things that bring me joy to my life and are also really good for my mental health, right? Don't try to eliminate or lower these expenses. These are things like, we are not hamsters in a wheel and in a cage. We want to live, right? We just need to reprioritize where our money is going moving forward. Now, what 3 to 5 things, when you're going through your budget, if you have a couple of things that you don't like, that don't really bring you a lot of joy to your life, these are the things that you want to try to cut back on, right? If you've got a ton of clothes in your closet, and for, on the weekends, you just go clothes shopping and you're not obsessed with it, and you're just like, it stresses you out more because you're taking on more debt, just try to cut it out for a little while, just, so you can get kind of back into the swing of things. Now, on our budget sheet, what we also have is we have some action steps. And I'm going to help you in the next couple of slides, to create some cash flow tips and tricks, as I like to call them, that we provide to our clients to help them cut back in some of their spending on a monthly basis. Now, if there are any action steps that you want to take, that you want to go with and move forward, you can type them on our budget worksheet if you are part of our Wealth Mastery curriculum. Now, these tips and tricks are ones that I use all the time. I still do this because I like to put as much money as I possibly can away into my investment vehicles. So every year I call my current utility providers and ask for a better deal. I make dining out a treat, not a habit. There are tons of different apps out there now that help you cook at home. You can go grocery shopping. You can make some really great meals. I probably go dining out maybe once or twice a week. One of them would be takeout, but we have clients who come into coaching who, they go out for lunch every single day. They go for coffees in the morning. They're in massive amounts of debt and they don't know why. Well, it's because it's expensive to dine out, right? So we need to make it a treat and not part of our everyday lifestyle unless we can afford it. And unless that makes you really happy. Go to the discount section of the grocery store and price match. I do all of my grocery shopping on Sundays, which is also my meal prep day. And so typically what I'll do is, if you go to the grocery store, a lot of grocery stores have an area where they are getting rid of older produce. That's still perfectly fine because they just got a new shipment of produce in, and that older produce is typically 50% off, right? So what I do is I go directly to the produce aisle. I look at food that maybe is still in really good shape because I'll go home that day and cook it. And I get 50% off, right? So that's a way to cut down on your grocery bills. Bike or walk as much as you can. Make coffee at work, at home, or schools instead of buying it in shops. It's okay if you want to go to a coffee shop once or twice a week, but if you are constantly like every day, 2, 3, 4 times a day getting coffee at home, it really adds up, right? Cut your bank fees. It still baffles my mind how the banks can charge individuals so much money in bank fees, but there's lots of different financial institutions out there that charge zero bank fees. I've never paid a bank fee in my life. I refuse to. Why am I paying somebody 10, 12, 15, $30 a month to literally take my own money out of a bank? Makes no sense. If you love books, you can get a library card completely free. Get rid of your cable box and buy maybe a streaming service. I don't know if any of you have heard of those old school bunny ears. They're actually really great. I just bought a new one from Best Buy. You plug it in the back of your TV and you can pick up like 30 channels in HD quality. I don't have cable, so that's a really good way to cut back. You can sell unwanted stuff on Craigslist, Kijiji, Letgo, or Buns. And always, if you can, buy used. Now, I did also come up with some bonus ways to save. Buy a cheaper car or ditch the extra car that you don't use. So right now, actually, if you have a used car, this would probably be the best time to sell it because there's actually a shortage of used vehicles out there. So if you've got a car that is just like collecting dust in your driveway and you don't drive it all the time, you can consider selling it right now, actually for more of a premium than you could have gotten, 2-3 years ago, probably. Take a good hard look at your insurance. Do you have the right kind of amount? You'd be shocked at the amount of people who come into coaching who are overinsured. They're spending money on insurance they just don't need. They've got too much insurance. They were sold a product 20 years ago. That's not the best product for them anymore. So it's really good to take a good hard look at your insurance, right? And all insurance, life insurance, home insurance, like shop around for the best insurance. Get rid of some of those extended warranties. Take a look at your credit cards because a lot of credit cards there do come with extended warranties so long as you purchase that item on that card. Watch your investment fees. How much are you paying in MER fees? It's not hard these days to cut back on your MER fees, putting thousands of dollars back into your pocket. Eat less meat. Meat is expensive. So if you can try to cut back to a couple times a week, you're going to save a lot more money on your grocery bill. This is a good time to negotiate your mortgage, right? Rates are still relatively cheap. So if you haven't looked at a mortgage refinance, talk to a mortgage broker, go to your bank and see if you can negotiate a better mortgage rate. Plan a staycation as opposed to a vacation. Grow a garden. Obviously, if we can grow our own food, even better. This is the big one. Organize your pantry and make a shopping list. I think a lot of people just love to go to the grocery store and buy things. And then all of a sudden we've got duplicates of things. Like try to use up the stuff you have at home. Not only will you be reducing waste, but you'll also be reducing your grocery bill if you don't have to buy duplicates of everything, right? And as always, shop out of season. So if you're looking for, winter stuff, wait until spring of next year to go buy that winter stuff, right? Or if you're looking right now for summer stuff, now would be the time to go look, right? Because it's out of season. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to execute, as we go through, we're going to execute on our action steps. And what you're going to do is you're going to start to put new values into the goal column. So here we can see again, we're going through, we're deciding where we want to allocate our money moving forward. We've called some providers. We've been able to cut back in some areas of our life. And what you're going to do, you're just going to give yourself new goals to stick to moving forward for the year ahead. Now, in this budget scenario, one of our priorities, let's just say, is getting rid of our debt, right? Our personal line of credit. Well, because I wanted to cut back, or because I've given myself a goal to cut back in some of these other areas down here, I can actually increase the amount of money that I'm putting onto my personal line of credit, right? Same thing. If you cut back in your expenses and you find at the end of the day that you've got money left over, you can put that extra money into your investment vehicles if you want to. Now, this should be what your end result looks like, right? Once you have gone through the goal column and you've filled out all of the goals that you want to spend in each category, you should have money left over. And this basically means that we've balanced our budget, right? We've got more expenses, we've got more income coming in than we have expenses going out. And we're not depriving ourselves of anything. We've just cut back in certain areas and we've reallocated our income so that we can focus on what is more of a priority to us. Okay, now the fun part. So we've balanced our budget. Now what we want to do is we want to actually track those goals. Now on our budget tracking sheet, we have different months of tracking on our sheet, which is where we can actually start to track our expenses. Now, I don't necessarily suggest you want to do this forever, but if this is your first time budgeting, or if this is your first time creating some kind of cash flow management system, this is a crucial step to starting to change your habits, right? And that's exactly what we want to do. When I was saving for my trip around the world, I just needed to change my habits. And what really helped me was actually tracking all of my spending. Because if I didn't track my money, how would I know where I was allocating everything, right? It's the same thing. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to lose weight. Some people are really good at losing weight. And they just have like a body of a god and they can just lose weight in a second. I can't. I have to track all of my calories in and calories out, and then I'll lose weight, right? Budgeting and managing your cash flow is the same thing. So on our budget tracking tool, what I would hope that you could do, or find an app or something that does this, is actually track your expenses for at least 3 months, right? And I think once you do that, you're going to start to think about the things that you are buying and whether or not they are whether or not they're a want or if they are a need, right? There's a difference between needing something and wanting something, right? We need to put food on the table. We don't need to put food on the table from a local restaurant. That's a want, right? We need to put a roof over our heads. So we've got rent to pay or we've got a mortgage to pay, right? We've got utility bills. We got to do certain things in life. So we need to reprioritize where our money is going. Now, as you track in our budget tracking worksheet, once you track, it's going to auto calculate all of the income that you have coming in, and it's going to calculate all of the expenses that you have going out. And at the end of the month, as an example, you may have some months where you've got some money left over. Now, what can you do with this? Well, there's lots, right? If you've got outstanding debt, you could put a larger pile of this onto your debt. Maybe you've got some extra room in your RRSP. You could put an extra $250 into your RRSP, and the remainder of it could go into an emergency fund or something like that. Maybe you have a trip coming up, like me. When I was tracking all of my spending and spending for my trip, I was saving a lot of money because I was tracking all of my dollars for the entire year. And every month I had money left over. It was just going into my vacation fund. So if you've got money left over, it's really good, obviously. So here are some best practices and tips. Update your budget tracker daily. And if not, do it every 2 to 3 days. It doesn't take long to do it, but it's a crucial part to this step, right? We have clients who sometimes come into coaching and they were like, yeah, I tried to set up a budget once upon a time and I only tracked it at the end of the month. Well, it's already too late, right? You want to be aware of where your money is going before it leaves your bank account, right? So just make sure to track it every couple of days if you can. Keep all of your receipts from debit, credit, and cash transactions as you're tracking. If you want to use an app or program, you can. Just make sure to review it every few days to make sure that you're staying on track. The app that I use is called Visual Budget by Kiwi Objects. I think it's only for Apple. I still use it to this day. I love it. It's a little bit hard to set up. One of our coaches used to work with Dave Ramsey, and she uses Every Dollar, which is a Dave Ramsey product. Mint.com has a budget app. And these apps, some of them are really good, but if they're automatically budgeting for you, the only thing I would suggest is actually going in and analyzing your data every couple of days, right? Okay, so key takeaways. Creating your budget and actively tracking it is the most important thing that you will do. And if you do this, I can guarantee you it's going to change your life. Now, by actively managing your cash flow, you can master your finances and build wealth faster. Financial freedom is just around the corner, but first you need to learn how to properly manage your cash flow. Now, I want to talk to you all about our Financial Freedom One-on-One coaching program. This is the program that I've been developing with Enriched Academy since October of 2017. Now, more than 2/3 of Canadians worry a lot about money, but 69% of them still don't have a plan. And the number one cause of stress for Canadians is money, right? 38% of people are stressed out because of money issues. And 70% of Canadians don't have a retirement plan and think that they won't save enough for retirement. Now, the biggest problem here is that Canadians don't think that they're able to live the life that they deserve, right? They feel stuck. They're feeling trapped. They're feeling hopeless. and they're not able to pursue goals and passions because they feel like they have this lack of money. So this is why we created our financial freedom coaching program. And what our coaching program really does is it's kind of like a GPS system, right? We want to know exactly where you are as of the day that you come into coaching. We want to know what your goals are. And what we're going to do as coaches is help you develop a plan to get you from point A to point B. And we're going to do that using different worksheets and tools and education to help empower you to be better with your finances. Now, here's our ideal coaching client. Not everybody is a good fit for coaching. I'll be very upfront with that, right? Not everybody needs coaching, but our ideal coaching client does need the accountability and they need the assistance. They're motivated to change, but they need guidance. They're ready to put in the work, time, and dedication. They want to achieve financial freedom, but they don't know where to start. There's too many things going on. There's the organizational issues. And the biggest thing is that they're coachable, right? They're ready to make a change. That's one of the biggest things. You have to come into coaching with an open mind because our coaches have really amazing ideas. But if you come into coaching and you are shut down and you're just not open to listening to other people's opinions or their thoughts, coaching is not going to be very beneficial for you. Now, our coaching program is a life-changing program, and you can see it here in the results. This is as of June 2021. The average increase in a client's net worth is $49,298.72. The average increase in credit score of our coaching clients is 28 points. If you don't know what your credit score is at this point in time, go check it out because it's your financial report card. Your total advisor fees saved is 1.25%. The average decrease in monthly spend is $1,214.52, right? We're helping Canadians save $12,000 a year in monthly spend, and that's providing them with the opportunity to help to increase their net worth. And we've helped clients decrease their credit card debt by an average of $3,574.63. Now, this is within a 6-month program, right? Our coaching program is 6 months, and these results that you see is over the 6-month program. These are the averages of the 6-month program. Now, this is one of our clients, Sandra. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but I just wanted to say thanks to Enrich Academy. I have learned to cut back on my monthly expenses by 28.57% and how to plan ahead for the future. And then we jump down here. Throughout the coaching program, my credit score increased by 38 points and her overall net worth increased by 694.08%. Now, Sandra's net worth obviously increased by a lot, right? And she was just starting off with her financial journey. And so by working with her and her coach, they looked at her budget. They looked at, where could she start putting more money after she cut back on her spending. And all of this helped her credit score increase by 38 points, right? A lot of people's credit scores can increase because they cut back in their monthly spending so that they can put more money towards their debts. That's why we see that increase in credit score. I recommend Enriched Academy to everybody because no matter your level of experience with money, they can help you reach your goals. Everyone deserves financial freedom and peace of mind. Now, why financial freedom coaching? We're the #1 program for results. We force the accountability on you. Now, that's one of the biggest things with clients is they come to coaching and they're like, I just need these calls. I need to talk to my coach. My coach is going to make me do this homework, and they need that enhanced accountability. You are working with 100% bias-free financial expert. We don't sell any financial products. We are in coaching as your coaches for the best interest of you, and we want to help you make your finances as efficient as possible. It truly is a life-changing program. We still hear from clients who have been in the program 5-6 years ago, and they still are just like, this program completely changed my life. And it's going to be the best return on investment that you ever make. Now, this is actually one of those clients that, he's come back. He was with us, I guess, in one of our first clients in October 2017. So I guess it would be 4 years now. And Chris just bought his 3rd investment property. He didn't start coaching with any investment properties, right? He came into coaching and he was able to cut back his monthly spending by $4,000 a month, which helped him pay off his entire business line of credit. His net worth increased by just shy of $29,000 and his credit score increased by 21 points. Now, what our coaching program really does is it helps you to create passive income. And, Warren Buffett says you will work until the day you die unless you learn to make money while you sleep. And that's basically what our system is, right? We take your earnings and we make them as like we focus on where your earnings are going. And really what we want to do is have those earnings creating buying assets, and those assets produce passive income. And that passive income eventually pays for your lifestyle. And then it's just this really awesome system, circular system that just keeps going. And this is money making you money literally while you're sleeping. Ask yourself this: 20 years from now, what will your life look like if you don't learn how to manage your money and create passive income? So what I'm going to offer you today, in the chat box below, there's going to be a link for a free financial assessment call. Now, we want to help you jumpstart your journey to financial success with this 45-minute confidential one-on-one assessment call with one of our Enriched Academy financial freedom consultants. Now, they're going to take you through a 4-step approach. The first one is they want to evaluate your financial situation, right? They need to figure out, where are you right now? Where are your pain points? What are your goals? Why and how did you get there? Like, why do you have these pain points? So they need to figure out what are these ongoing financial issues that you have. And then, depending on what they are, they want to help discuss they want to help to discuss realistic financial goals to be financially secure now and going into retirement. So they want to help you figure out what program may be best for you at this point in time to help you set up goals for your future. And then what they're going to do is they're going to offer different options that we have as part of our coaching, as part of as part of Enriched Academy, right? We have a number of different programs that might be a good fit for you. You may have an assessment call with someone and they say, yeah, you're doing great. You don't need this at all. Keep doing what you're doing. But they need to really get down into the nitty gritty of why you feel like you need coaching and what your pain points are and what the resistance is. And from there, they're going to suggest, if one of our programs might be a good fit for you. It's a completely free 45-minute assessment call. I would suggest, if you're going to sign up, please make sure that you do, when you do sign up, please come to the assessment call, because we only have a certain amount of spots available. We only have 2 people working on these assessment calls right now, so spots are limited. Bring your partner, your spouse with you. We love working with partners in coaching. We actually, we find that a lot of clients at the end of our coaching program have a better relationship if they come into coaching together, because, money is not really something that is often talked about in relationships. Some people are very open about it, but some, usually there's one or the other other partner that has some resistance there. So if you want to come to the assessment call, please come, bring your partner, and make sure just to add the date and time to your calendar. Like I said, spots are limited, so we don't have a ton of spots available. So now what we're going to do is go through some questions and answers. So let me just get out of this slideshow here. Let me stop sharing my screen. All right, awesome. So let's see. Let's see what we've got. Oh, we've got lots of questions. Hi, everybody. Sorry, this is a restream here. Let's see what we've got here. So we've got, hi, Susie from Southern Manitoba. Kate, hello from Ottawa. Hi, Judith Kane. One of our coaches is here. Marcia, love the Ramsey Solution podcast. Yeah, his book Total Money Makeover. Yeah, I actually just read that book for the first time ever this past summer. Our coaches, we have a book club. So we like to read different books that we all suggest, and the Total Money Makeover was one of his books. Is there an app for small businesses? Yes. So there's a couple apps, actually. I think one of them that I'm thinking of is called Wave. Wave, I mean, we have clients as well who use the budget tracker that we have for small businesses. What I suggest is keeping them separate. So if you have a small business, try to keep it as separate as you can from your personal expenses, because things can really get messy really quick. The other one is maybe to take a look at, is it Quicken or QuickBooks? Either one of those. I know that they have kind of like a small business cash flow management thing going on there. Where do you put whole life insurance payments, expense or savings? Yes. Okay. So whole life insurance premiums are an expense, right? Now, unless your life insurance payment is paying you out anything at this point in time, that the payout obviously would go into your income. But right now, all you're doing is paying premiums. Now, if you do have a whole life insurance policy, that policy has a cash surrender value that's typically attached to it. And that cash surrender value is now an asset to you. And that should be going onto your net worth tracker under the asset side of things. Okay, Marcia says, check out podcast Build Wealth Canada. Yeah, that's Cornell. We love Cornell. And Maple Money Show. They might have episodes for small businesses. Okay, what is this here? Somebody just said $6,000. I don't know what that means. And somebody says lower what I thought. Yep, you're right. Okay, how do you know? So Tammy says, how do you know if you should put it against debt or retirement savings? Yeah, so Tammy, when you're going through your budget, I think it's really important. The very first thing that everybody and anybody should ever do is create a net worth statement, right? Because that statement is going to help you organize your finances and figure out what's a priority to you. If you have high interest debts, and if those debts are up towards, 20%, 25%, anything I would say above 5%, you should probably start to focus on getting rid of those debts before you start to save. The reason being is that it's not overly difficult to make more than a 5% return in the markets year over year, depending on your age and a number, obviously, of different factors. But over time, you'll probably end up saving a lot faster if you can get rid of some of those higher interest debts. So it really just depends on your personal financial situation and what debts you have and where are they and how much are you paying, and also how are those debts charging interest every day, right? How are they compounding? Okay, Tammy, there's also a peace of mind when debt is paid off. Yes, huge peace of mind when you pay off your debt for sure. What do you do if you want a budget, but your partner refuses, says he doesn't care about the future, he just wants to be able to do what he wants today? Yeah, Deb, that's a really good question, because I think there's a really fine line of doing both. It's really interesting. I just, one of our books that we read was called Die with Zero. And it kind of depends, like, what are your financial goals? Maybe you're at a point where you don't need to save as much because you are nearing retirement, or maybe, there's a fine line between like living in the moment and also putting money away for retirement, right? Because what you don't want to do is get into retirement and you have no money available. So it's really just, if your partner doesn't want to budget, maybe you could take over that budget with them. Like maybe your partner doesn't need to be so active in the daily transaction stuff day to day, but maybe you have a weekly meeting with him where you sit down and you say, hey, we've got, we spent this much money on this week. Maybe we can cut back next week, but I put more money into our TFSA. We've got $500 left over, so let's go on a trip, So yeah, it's now you can also, like I said, you could try going into our coaching program, right? We've helped a lot of people get on board because a lot of people are resistant to budgeting because they just don't know what they don't know, right? There's no like third party there giving them more hand-holding and more accountability and just more education about why it's so important to do some of these different things. Can you purchase one coaching hour to fine tune rather than the whole program? So Joey, this is actually something I'm working with in the 2022 year. So stay tuned. We don't have it right now. We only have the whole coaching program. But it is something that I am going to be looking into. Hi from Vancouver Island. Will you be sending a link to this recorded session to watch this again? Yes, I believe that you do receive that after tomorrow. Where do you find these resources? Okay, so Jason says, how much does the one-on-one training package cost? So Jason, as I mentioned, we have a couple of different programs. So sign up for those financial assessment calls. We have monthly payment options. We have upfront payment options. We have an option for people who are just in debt. We have our wealth mastery program, and then we have our one-on-one coaching. So really depending on what your needs are, you will be offered one of those programs. Where would you put spending in our budget tracker if you are starting something as a small business? Yeah, so Kate, I think if you are starting a small business and you're using your own money for the time being, it's an expense, right? You have overhead that you have to pay for out of pocket until you start making income from your small business that's going to start covering the expenses. But in the beginning, if you're a small business, you're using your own money. So it's got to go in there as an expense, even though it's a write-off if you do make income from that small business, but it's got to go in there to begin with, I would say, as like a personal expense. Tiffany, what was the app that you use again? Visual Budget, it's called. It's by Kiwi Objects. I think it's only for iOS. It's only for Apple at this point. Jason says, I'm looking mainly for advice on investing and finding capital for investment properties. Yes, Jason. So I know today our webinar is only on budgeting, but our coaching goes way beyond the world of budgeting. This is just like one of the small things that we do in our coaching program. So we help clients with investments. We help clients leverage equity out of their home to use for investment purposes. We help clients figure out what's going on with their TFSAs and RRSPs. We can help you get into private lending. So yeah, so that's just something we do a lot more than just budgeting in our coaching. So Joey, if you've bought the online self-directed course, can you roll that into the coaching program? So Joey, it depends on when you've purchased the course, but if you want to sign up for a financial assessment call, you can talk to the, they'll be able to look into that for you. Jason, can the coaching be catered to spending more time on this than other things? Yes. So we cater coaching specifically for what our clients need. So it doesn't, we have clients in every area of life, right? They've been building their wealth up over years. We've worked with millionaires, we've worked with students, we've worked with multimillionaires, we worked with big real estate investors. We can do coaching for anything. Now, the only caveat of that I would say is we are not financial planners, right? We're not in this business of putting together like a strict number. Coaching and financial planning are two very different things. We're more here to hold you accountable and help you execute on your plans and provide you with different ideas of what you could do with your finances moving forward. I always like to explain it like, if you're looking at, somebody who's into health, right? You have a personal trainer and then maybe you have a physiotherapist. The physiotherapist is going to be able to get down to the root, like a physiotherapist and a doctor. If you need somebody to get like really under the hood and put like a full structured dollar by dollar plan together with like, charts and bars and all this other stuff, you probably need somebody that's more of like a CFP. We do coaching. So, we help you get your finances on track. We provide you with education and tools that you can execute on to manage your own finances and help to empower you to take better care of your finances down the road. Where can we get the budgeting worksheet? Yeah, so Tiffany, if you're part of the Enriched Academy online curriculum, you get it through there. But as I said, if you're not, there's tons of different Excel versions online. You can just go onto Excel or you can download one offline. The fact of the matter is you just need to get really clear on where your money's going, right? You could use a pen and paper, just a regular Excel spreadsheet. You just want to do this. You just want to go through this and figure out where all your money's going. Okay, is there any other questions? I think we've got about 10 more minutes. If anybody has any other questions. Jason says, I did the assessment call and purchased the self-directed already about a year ago. Just wondering if I still qualify for the discount if I rolled into the coaching. Yeah, so Jason, if it was a year ago, I don't think you do. But like I said, sign up for that assessment call. The strategist may be able to work something out for you. I don't know what they do on their end over there. And how they do things, but yeah, you can always ask. Oh yes, next week, Matthew and I, thanks Mark for posting that. If you want, all of you who are in here right now, Matthew and I, one of our other coaches are doing we do a VIP group coaching call every week. So we do a live Q&A session. Sorry, not every week. We do it once a month. Our next one is on Thursday. So up in the chat here, there's actually a link for the webinar if you'd like. Please sign up. You can bring all of your burning questions. Matt and I will try to answer them as best as we possibly can. So yeah, try to come out. They're a lot of fun. We get a lot of really cool questions. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the financial landscape. So it's really good to come and just see what's going on and, talk to Matt and I about what our thoughts are. So yeah, does anybody else have any other questions? No, I don't see any coming in. Thank you all. Oh, thank you, everybody. I think that's it. No more questions. Doesn't look like. I've got 8 more minutes. So if anybody's got any burning questions, anything financial related, that is. No takers? What's everybody doing for the holidays? I'm going home to Peterborough. Well, it's not home. Toronto's my home. Joel says, where can we get the budgeting worksheet? Yes, Joel. So if you are part of Enriched Academy, the Wealth Mastery online curriculum, you can get it through there. If not, you can get it, you can get one online. It won't be our Enriched Academy one. That's only for people who are in Wealth Mastery and in coaching or in our debt elimination program. But like I said, this whole webinar, you can do at home with a pen and paper. The budget app for iOS is called Visual Budget. That's just the one that I use. I really like it. Like I said, there's Mint, there's Every Dollar. There's a ton of different apps out there. A good Google search will be good. Even some of the banks have, yes, YNAB, Judith. YNAB is a good one. That's out of the States. Just make sure it connects with your banking system in Canada. Okay. I think that is it for today. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope to see a lot of you on Thursday when Matt and I kind of take over. The budgeting app is called Visual Budget. Visual Budget by Kiwi Objects. Visual Budget by Kiwi Objects. Yeah, so we hope to see a lot of you on Thursday. Sign up for the webinar. Yeah, hope to see a lot of you sign up for the free financial assessment call. You've got nothing to lose. It's 45 minutes, completely free. They'll tell you if you're a good fit for coaching or not. This coaching program will change your life. We hope to see a lot of you in there, especially with the new year coming up. January is a really tough time for people because they're stressed out from all the money they spend on the holidays. So there's never a better time to come into coaching than now. Okay, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a great afternoon from wherever you're coming from. I know it's early for some of you where you are. Some of you are in Ottawa. I'm in Toronto. It's a beautiful day out. So yeah, thank you all so much. We hope to see a lot of you on Thursday and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.